in the name of informing people. And many are passionately just carried by that. May the Lord deliver them from the witchcraft and manipulation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Daniel, let's get back again to this letter, and I'd like you to answer. There are two issues raised in this letter, and one of them is that the Restoration Council doesn't have the powers and the jurisdiction to freeze the National Treasury. Does the Restoration Council have those powers?
Thank you, Secretary Chris. I like to deal with facts. I'm actually going to read part of what they wrote in that regard. In a section here, they say, we have not found anywhere in the interim constitution of Ambazonia where Mr. Komita or the Restoration Council derives the power to audit the national treasury of Ambazonia. And if you continue somewhere down there towards the end of the letter, it says, can Komita or anyone else show Ambazonians from what articles or part of the interim constitution Mr. Komita, the Restoration Council, derived the authority to issue such a far-reaching order? Okay, and then they say, very interesting to note that the so-called order does not have the courtesy. Yeah, that was what you were mentioning about the president, copying what my Reverend Jeannie was talking about. Now, somewhere in the letter, they do mention about the is it the PPMEB, right? That is supposed to be the one
Right.
that would handle such things. The
Right.
truth is that it doesn't exist. that particular arm doesn't, well, it used to exist. I know of it very well. I'm very certain about that. But it closed down or it just went inactive. So that is a fact that is there. Now, coming to the aspect of the constitutionality of the Restoration Council. Number one, if we go to the Constitution itself, if you look at Article 15, which talks about the functions of the Restoration Council, it does mention the various things that the Restoration Council has as part of their duties. And then it goes on in Article 8. It says, in addition to the aforementioned, so the various things that the Restoration Council has as functions. So in addition to the aforementioned, the terms of reference of mandate of the Restoration Council, or in bracket the TOR, shall guide the workings of the Restoration Council under the direction of the chairman to third majority of vote. Now, this is the part which these people are so much trying to hold on, that the TOR, and yet they reference our terms of reference in their letters and in all the accusation and stuff like that. This is the article they will hardly ever mention. They don't want even Ambazonians to know that there's a term and reference, which this is the only place in the Constitution that mentions the terms of reference of any organ of government, and that is the TOR. So it says, in addition, the terms of reference is part of the Constitution. This simply says that this will guide them. So it cannot talk of the terms of reference and at the same time we deny the terms of reference of what it says. Now, I'm going to go to the terms of reference because all of these funny things that they are bringing up, and really, to be honest, I did not really want to come to this show because, to be honest with you, I find these things so just trash. But because of the sake of the people of Ambazonia, I deem it necessary to be here. Now, let's come to the terms of reference, and please just give me a few minutes while I deal with this case. If you look at, Article 4, now this is the terms of reference, Article 4, 4.1. It's saying that, okay, I've mentioned that already about the agencies, right? Which the Restoration Council can act. Let's go to Article 6.1. Just a moment. It says, as custodians of the people's interests and their needs, the Restoration Council plays the role of the legislature in the interim and has jurisdiction. It has jurisdiction over holding all accountable to the execution of any business that is in the interest of the people. I read it again. As custodian of the people's interests and their needs, the Restoration Council plays the role of the legislature in the interim and has jurisdiction over holding all accountable. It doesn't matter whether it's the president, it doesn't matter whether it is the finance, it doesn't matter. It says all accountable in the execution of any business that is in the interest of the people of Amazonia. Now, 6.2 says the Restoration Council does so by directly calling the executive to account or through its
Oh.
agents like the Ethics and Compliance Commission, State Accountability Office, and etc. And obviously, like I mentioned, there are various committees in the Restoration Council, and they are the ones, these are the agents, these are the ones that do act in that capacity of holding accountable the executive. They bring them to book the checks and balances to make sure that what they say is what they do, or what they're supposed to do is being brought to book. So nobody can come and tell us that, oh, the Restoration Council has no authority, has no mandate, or has no power to ask for accountability, when it is very clear here that we have the power, we have the right to ask for accountability of any department. Thank you. Go ahead, Sister.
Thank you. That's a great explanation there. The question then is, in your opinion, why do you think they are doing everything to take off the hands of the Restoration Council from having anything to do with the Treasury and the audit?
Well,
Reverend, all right, yes, go on,
okay.
go on. Then Reverend
No, no,
Junior will
I
come, will
wanted to
take over.
say, just like the song that I think it's Sonny Okoso who sang, when you played the one you played before we started watching the pro before you came live. We are not fools on the hills, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why they keep writing these things. And there's a saying, one little lie leads to another. When you begin to lie, you only have to keep on lying to sustain that lie. You will keep on lying and continue lying. So all of this is very clear because, one, they want to make it look like the Restoration Council has no authority. Number two, they want to give the impression they think they can frighten the Restoration Council. And obviously, the real reason for this letter is because the Restoration Council has given order for those accounts to be frozen. Money can go in, but cannot go out. That is the main reason they are writing this letter. They think somehow they will do some magic or something for us to be intimidated, and for us that we don't know our rights. They are playing with the wrong people.
Reverend Junior, please, your turn. Why do you think they are desperately trying to stop the Restoration Council from having the keys of the Treasury and conducting or sanctioning an audit?
First, like Honorable Danny had mentioned already, they are trying to intimidate the Restoration Council from doing their responsibility or carrying out their official responsibility of protecting the institution of the nation and protecting what concerns the people of Amazonia. Because from the articles we read through here, from the Constitution and from the Torah, terms of reference, is all clearly pointing out that the Restoration Council has the overruling power of oversight over every institution of the country, and to make sure it follows up to protect the interests of the people with accountability from anybody, anytime, anymore. Now, so they are doing so on one side to intimidate, so that the resolutions can stop whatever they're doing or swing back. Secondly, to present to the people that they are the ones in charge, which is not true, because they have been asking here, and so it's a kind of a manipulated letter against the Restoration Council and against the people of Amazonian, not to look up to the institution of the Restoration Council, but to look up to a structure that is not fully instituted or structured or in place. Now, adding to what Honorable Danny just mentioned here, let me read out some other additional points of what he mentioned, because it is chapter 5 of the Restoration of the Constitution. Anybody who wants to read, follow up to there. In Article 14, read point 3 and point 4, and then come back to Article 15. Now, I'd like to read point 4 again. It says here that the Restoration Council has that legislative right to determine the fiscal and the taxation policies in consultation with the Department of Finance and Economy. And in a context here, the Department of Finance and Economy is the National Treasury. It says explicitly They have the power and the authority in consultation to this department, not with the president and not with the judiciary, you know, to determine the financial situation of the nation. And bid me, Ambazonians who are following up, will bear witness that till today, there has never been any case of the projects of the cabinet presented to the Restoration Council, which is what is called to be done at any moment. The former president did what he wanted, having manipulated the people and even pocket them to go the way they're going, which is not right and true to the people. Point 8 of that Article 15 says that the Restoration Council has the mandate to update periodically and to keep current and adapt to changing circumstances and needs of the people of Ambazonia. That means while we are going through what we're going through, even if we had arrived in Buya, the Constitution is there as a guideway for the people. But through the changing circumstances, times and seasons, and complex situations, where things are not fully clearly defined, a way forward, the Restoration Council has that power to be able to chart the way forward for the people of Ambazonia. And there are many of these things that are being pointed out here very clearly, so that we Ambazonians should know and sit up for it. In Article 5.1 and point 6, it says that the Restoration Council has the empowerment to make rules in the interim and laws for the future, and to make sure that public money is being spent accountably. Now, one of the reasons, like Honorable Danny just mentioned already, is for the fact that there was a letter sent out by the Restoration Council to stop every requisition of money from within the National Treasury, and to empower a committee of auditors to carry on investigation and to bring out the result of the auditing to the Restoration Council to be made known to the people of Ambazonia. And it's ongoing. I think before the end of this program, we're going to read a letter so that Ambazonians should know, because the committee has written a letter to instruct, to inform the people about what they're doing. And for Sako, the impeached and removed president, to work with this, call them veterans that have become confused and even disagree among themselves, and agree when need to defend the cause that is not there. He knows that when the results of these auditings are published, it will be like the wind of justice, the wind of revelation that will expose the reality of all his financial misappropriation. That is what they are fighting at the moment. On the other hand, they want to make sure they get hold of the little that is still remaining in that treasury. But God forbid. And like Honorable Danny said already, the Restoration Council is committed to go any far to make sure that this guy in his wickedness will not deceive and enslave the people of Amazonia forever. Thank you.
Now, thank you. In one of the paragraphs that John Frunso and Tim Mbese are quoting here, they say, "We have not found anywhere in the interim constitution of Ambazonia where Mr. Komita or the Restoration Council derives the authority to audit the National Treasury of Ambazonia. The order or directives contained therein are therefore unconstitutional and unenforceable. Unenforceable. Article 9, subparagraph 1b of the interim constitution, they say, state, and I quote, "The president shall uphold, defend, and ensure respect and enforcement of this constitution as the supreme law of the land and the overriding instrument for the governance of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia." In other words, they are saying the jurisdiction lies with the president. And who is that president? Somewhere, Ekome Sako. Are they still dreaming? If they are respecting and writing to the Restoration Council, and the Restoration Council has impeached and removed somewhere a comment circle, what do you call this? What are they trying to do? Go for before, for back?
It's manipulation, clear manipulation. Let me say here, that's one point very clear for Ambazonians to know. Even if that were to be true, and not manipulation and distortion to want to drive in a point, because all the articles we have read here in chapter 5 of the Constitution, all the articles we have read here, more than 6 of them, shows very clearly the responsibility of the Restoration Council as the custodian of the law and the institution of the people, not just to apply the law, but to supervise it and protect it and defend it. Now, let me read here. When you read through the whole of that letter, they don't mention about the chairman of the Restoration Council, whatever. But there in the Constitution, it's mentioned very clearly in this article, point 8 of Article 15.8, it says, in addition to the aforementioned, which Honorable Danny had read already, the terms of reference, mandate as of the Torah shall guide the working of the Restoration Council under the direction of the chairperson. This is what they have been avoiding. You hear the commenter and his look. These guys, I don't know what kind of intellectual or veterans they are. They are not sincere to themselves. They are not true to themselves. And all the people who sit with them in the forums and listen know that even when they come together, they quarrel. And when they go back, they manipulate and come to the people. May Ambazonians sit up and be able to read their constitution. He said, with the chairperson and the two-thirds majority vote, this manual may be updated periodically to keep current and to adapt to changing circumstances and the need of the people of the Southern Cameroon. Is qualifying the chairperson, whoever he or she may be, for this rule to be done, not for anybody, but for the people of Ambazonia. We should come to our senses to understand that the institutions are there not to defend any person, but to defend the people jealously. Let us come out of this manipulation of trying to defend, I don't know how to qualify. Unfortunately, he's not even there. We're trying to fool the people to understand that he's there. That his days are numbered. If I am a servant of God and I know this God I'm talking about, he called a servant of God and has been up to what he is in his devilish attitude, trying to deceive the people and enslave them forever. If Ambazonians will sit up to understand what are the results showing up from this audit that will be published very soon, some of them will be lamenting when it's too late, lamenting when their tears cannot help them. But thank God, there's always a remnant, because those who are determined to follow the way of deception, let them go back to the Bible and check out the man Saul, see how he ended. Check back the king, he was a king, but see how he ended. Check back the king Ahab, the kings, and see how he ended, being fooled around by a certain Jezebel. It has been happening in the history of different nations, and Ambazonians should sit up. It is time for them to sit up and check their eyes. Now, so is this article here qualifying? If you read at all, you see it talk about the chairperson and the members of the Restoration Council to make sure with the changing circumstances and with regard to the needs of the people of the Southern Cameroons, they uphold the constitution and defend their cause, which is what these guys are trying to fight about or fight against. Thank you.
Honorable Danny, go on before I move to the next subject that has to deal with the hostile takeover. Now, after writing to you, they held a meeting. They talked about the hostile takeover of the treasury. But before we get there, what will happen if Sako says no, I'm not going for any audit?
I think he's muted. We can't get him.
Oh, I think he's muted on his side.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, can you get me now? Yeah, I was saying that before I go there. With regards to Article 9.1, I think that article seemed to be one article that Barrister John Fru has been singing so much, and I think this is where, for some reason, it has kind of entered the head of some people that oh, this is what the impeach and remove president is holding on to. Well, this article is very clear. All of us, even we who are in the Restoration Council, took an oath, and also we have to defend, the Constitution. And in this respect, it simply means the president must uphold that the ROC is its own accountability person. It has to
Yep.
uphold it. In other words, this is my boss. I have to respect that office, and that is upholding constitution. Why are they not also discussing about that? So in terms of whether they will go for the audit or not, well, it is obvious that they might not want to, but it doesn't stop the work of the Restoration Council to still invite whoever has to be invited. The truth is this is a God ordained revolution. And people think that we're just saying it for saying sake. They thought the ROC was dead and gone. Suddenly it has risen up. How did it happen? That is how God is doing things. That's just the hand of God. People, the Bible says that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. It's because they don't have the knowledge that God is in control in this thing. So they say it their way, and the more they pronounce it, the more the judgment of God is right at their doorstep. So certainly, whether you come for the audit, you don't come for the audit will still continue. We are not, and we don't have Ambazonia yet fully where we'll have, a prison system and stuff like that. But who knows? Who knows? We have this revolution in God's hand. We are here up to this point because God has been in control. When people thought at some point that everything is gone, you just see something happen. And it is the same thing as what is going on right now. So the audit will continue. And the truth is that this letter really is because they're trying to avoid that auditing. The audit will happen whether they like it or not. In fact, it is ongoing. So let us wait and see. Anybody who's wanting to argue out there. And let me say something to Ambazonia, because a lot of people think that the impeached president had the authority to suspend, according to their own words, which they actually want to say dissolve. The truth is, there's no constitutional power that he has that any president of Ambazonia has to dissolve, suspend, disband, or whatever. The Restoration Council. There's nothing. Even the LGAs don't even have the authority. And the whole truth is this. This is the game that was played. The game that was played was that let us call an emergency meeting, which the former president did. Call an emergency meeting, which is like the next day. People come there, then suddenly you say, "Oh, this meeting is a meeting of chairs." Then after all the debating, and some of them who attended, you don't have any power to dissolve, even a vote of confidence. Some told them that you don't even have that power, right? Then after doing all of that, a letter is produced which now says that we give a vote of no confidence, or we call on the president to give a vote of no confidence. That letter does not have the signature of any chair in that letter. It has the signature of an appointee by the impeached president. So how does a letter that has no signature of a single chair have an authority and power to give the president a vote or a voice for something that has to do with all the chairs? And I asked that question in my own LGA, and they were trying to say, oh, the other chairs should have come out and distance themselves. Why must they distance themselves for something that is illegitimate? It has no power, no authority. So that is a null and void. It doesn't hold water. It has no power at all. And from that point now, what happens now? It sounds now like, oh, we've given the former president the power to now go ahead and do whatever. Then the impeached president come now, instead of even trying to do what the people asked him to do, which is the case here of saying a vote of no confidence, which they still don't have the power, and which no chair even signed that document. He goes to say he is suspending the ROC. I mean, how ludicrous is that? I mean, it really makes no sense. So Ambazonians that are there thinking that, oh, he has had that power. He doesn't. He's had no power. He cannot dissolve the ROC. That is why these people are writing referring to the ROC. And before you know, others will still keep on writing, trying to to still mention the RC, because the RC is the RC, is the Restoration Council. It is the overriding body. Whether they like it or not, it is the overriding body. And Ambazonians, I want to say this, look in straight into this camera, and I'm telling you the truth. Do not be deterred. Stand firm on your ground. Walk the walk of faith that God has called us. God is in control in this battle. We are playing our own role. We are playing our own part. And whatever it is that God has for us, we will do it. But you also on your own side, stand your ground and march on unto victory. Do not allow people to deter you and try to give you all kind of stories. It is very clear. If you read this constitution, it is very clear. It is straightforward. It was not written in Japanese for us not to understand. It is clearly written there. And so let us not be fooled. We are not fools on the hill, and we're not going to be deceived by people who try to create scenarios and write all kind of stuff. Even if they write whatever letter, we will still debunk it and show that they are the ones that are unconstitutional, because every little lie they are trying to put ahead, every lie is only going to grow and grow to something else, and it will not hold the water. So please,
Okay.
this again, just to conclude, this letter is just a proof to show you that they know the power of the RC. They know that the RC is not dissolved. They know very well what the RC stands for. Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right, let us move over to this other subject of the hostile takeover of the treasury. We are joined also at this moment by Mama Jew, the famous Mama Jew here at the interim government, talking about the board chair of ABC. But before I get to her, talking about the hostile takeover of the treasury. Before that meeting of Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, we all saw making rounds on the social media of private banking information belonging to this lady, Irene Gwa, again making the rounds on social media, asking Ambazonians to make donations to their so-called government through her private account, Cash App, Zelle, and so on and so forth. And I believe one reason for which she circulated, ladies and gentlemen, that information, those private banking information, the reason being that they could put money in the treasury, but they could not get a dime. They cannot get a dime out of the treasury because it is frozen. And so she began passing out her own private banking information, account information for people to make donations using her private account. The funniest thing about this is that she cannot argue that, oh no, I just had to do this for our refugees. I just had to do this to help, our suffering people. It's a lie, because, ladies and gentlemen, the HSS department for which that fundraiser was being conducted is incorporated with a 501c certificate and account number of its own, separate from those of the National Treasury. So there was no reason, ladies and gentlemen, for which this woman would be circulating her private banking accounts for Ambazonians to put money inside, for her to, turn around and use it for whatever purpose. We do not know. But the interesting thing is that this isn't the first time she was doing this. We have seen her giving her banking information during drafts for people to send in money through her. Now, why this is very, very important, ladies and gentlemen, is that when drafts are taking place in any county, there is what we used to call the IOC, intergovernmental intergovernmental oversight committee. Intergovernmental Oversight Committee. When drafts, fundraisers are going on, what happened is the Intergovernmental Oversight Committee would have to descend upon the county to make sure The county is bank ready, account ready to collect any drafts. The reason the IOC does so is to make sure that draft money doesn't go into private accounts. That's the purpose, the reason for which they do that, and it is one of the reasons for which it was created. When money was being drafted to private bank accounts in different counties, the IOC was put in place to make sure they vote every county to make sure they have a bank account before it drafts. But in this case, Irene Ngwa, ladies and gentlemen, who I believe is part of the treasury, it knows better that you cannot ask Ambazonians to put money in your private account. Passes out private banking information for Ambazonians to put money into it. A lot of it has been done. I don't know how much has been forwarded to the treasury, but if that is not fraud and corruption, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And this is one of the reasons we are telling Ambazonians, don't put your money in the hands of corrupt and fraudulent officials. I will say it and I will say it again. That is exactly what it is. When you have the National Treasury, when you have the HSS banking accounts, and you put out your private banking credentials for people to forward money into it, it is fraud. It is fraud. And Ambazonians, we cannot continue to live through this anymore. That is very, very important. But besides that, on Tuesday, Sako, Iringwa, and a little cabal, including, of course, the Bitcoin, cryptocurrency little ring, they met in a secret meeting in which they discussed a hostile takeover of the National Treasury. They realize they are capable, they are able to deposit funds into it, but they cannot take it out. Now, this is what they said. The National Treasury is a private foundation. They are trying, number one, to push out the National Treasurer. Richard Tango, they're trying to push him out, replace him with Iringwa. So Iringwa will now have the signatory rights, ladies and gentlemen, the signatory rights in the National Treasury to sign requisition and, of course, to open up the National Treasury for Sako and his team to loot it. That is what is going on. That is what they discussed in that meeting. So they said the way to do so is dismiss the current treasurer and then bring in Irene Ngwa. After all, the National Treasury is under Ambazonia Foundation, which is an NGO entity. That is the way they want to take over the National Treasury. Through the foundation. They want to get a few members of the board of the Treasury, to get the current treasurer removed, and then they will then replace him with Irene Ngwa. After all, if the majority members of the board take that decision, it goes. All they need to do is write to the bank with minutes coming from the meeting in which they ejected the treasurer. That's all they need to do. Send the minutes of the meeting in which they ejected the treasurer, send it to the bank, and tell the bank, he is no longer the treasurer, this is the new treasurer, and the bank will be fine with it. That's the way it works here. But that is what they want to do, ladies and gentlemen. Sako is inventing every means by which, ladies and gentlemen, to continue perpetrating himself as your president. Ladies and gentlemen, I have said it here again and again. We all join this thing as volunteers. I have never been paid a dime fighting for Ambazonia. But somebody comes over, it takes over, and Ambazonians say, no, it is time for us to assess what you have done for the past 4 years. the past 4 years. He says, no, I am meant to be here until I get to Boya. I was voted to be here until I get to Boya. Till eternity comes, and that eternity, of course, is Boya. Is this job a volunteer job that we all are aware of? Is it still a volunteer job for as long as Samuel Ekomesako is concerned? And look, I need Ambazunia to reflect, please, over this. Is this job, this struggle, to save Ambazonia, still a volunteer job for some of us who are into this? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the question you begin to ask people who are put in positions of responsibility through voting, and then the time comes, they say, no, this is God ordained for me. We need to know that something is not right. Let me get Mama Jew in here to comment on this, if you can hear me. Mama Jew, it's a pleasure to have you, ma'am.
Having me on your show today.
All right, all right. You have been listening to me out there about this
Mhm.
hostile takeover. They call it hostile takeover of the treasury through Ambazonia Foundation. What is your take on this? I know you are aware of that.
Yeah, I am aware of the attempt to take over the treasury, but I'm kind of confused because I'm thinking that everybody would want that the audit should be conducted, because right now an audit is being conducted, and this is what everybody has said, that there should be an audit everywhere. The ABC TV, they should audit. And so when they are auditing the National Treasury, I think they are only being in line. I think they are only being in line with what has to take place. So I'm thinking that at this time, everybody should wait until the audit is over and the results are seen, because we don't want another issue coming up like my trip to Boya. Mhm.
Well, apparently we have my trip to Boya all back with us with this call for an audit. When you see Sako telling people, no, I don't want an audit. It appears to me like my trip to Boya all over again.
Well, that's what we are hoping that it's not going to be, because we learned a lesson from my trip to Boya, and I was thinking that following the debacle of my trip to Boya, that everybody will be keeping their books right. All the counties, all the LGAs were asked to have an account, and they are being audited. So I don't think it's a stretch for the National Treasury to be audited. The When the ABC was being audited, nobody said no, they should not do it. It's been audited. We are waiting for the results to see what it is that was done or what was not done. So, and there's not been any resistance from any group of people who are being audited. So I don't know why it's any different when it comes to the National Treasury.
But the usage of the word hostile, I mean, that is their own wording. Hostile
Mhm.
takeover. That tells you how desperate they are about doing this. It tells you that they want to do everything that they can. Hostile, whatever means they can use to take over, number one, Ambazonia Foundation and the Treasury.
Yeah, that is true. I think that the treasurer had been asked to relinquish the authority on the treasury, and the treasurer told them, no, the Restoration Council has given an order that it should be locked down and it should be audited. And as you were just saying with the members of the Restoration Council, the Restoration Council is being recognized as part of the government. So if they are good for one aspect, they should be good for everything else.
Right.
So if that's an order coming from the Restoration Council, it should be respected. There should not be any, unless there's a problem. The Restoration Council said, in the case that money is needed for something, an extraordinary need, that requisition should be made through the the Restoration Council, and that money will be made available. They'll respond to the requisition. So it is not like the money cannot be gotten. It is not like if there's a need, there's not going to be money. The Restoration Council is saying, if you need money during this period of time, make a requisition. We will make it available. So there
But why
must
should,
be something.
well, I'm going to ask this question to the Restoration Council members here. I don't know how the Restoration Council can even say to them, if you need money, write a requisition. It is not a recognized government, isn't it?
That's
Uh,
true.
the,
That's true. Mhm. Go
Yeah,
on.
okay.
yeah,
Let
I
me
want
let
to
me get to the two honorable gentlemen here.
Okay.
Let them take that question. Uh, Pastor D, the Restoration Council cannot at this moment say to Sako, if you need money, put out a requisition to the Restoration Council and we approve of it, because he has been impeached and removed, isn't it?
Well, it's whatever happens. It's not. He's not the one to request whatever. He's not recognized at this time. So it might be things like, for example, like websites or things that are very pertinent, so to say. So it's not like we're expecting that we will see anything coming from the from the former president. No, that's not the case. So those are not requisitions that we are thinking that it will be coming from that side. And if at all, remember, this must be something that is of extreme importance to get a revolution going. So it's not like it's something that we are expecting to get it from him. I don't know if Honorable Reverend Judy wants to say something to that as well.
yeah, let
Yes,
me let
please.
me just here by the message there directed from the Restoration Council is not to the former president, but to the people of Amazonia. Let me read it here from the letter. It says, all funding requisition for disbursement directed to the National Treasury of the France should, from the date of the signature of this order, be redirected to the Restoration Council of the Federal Republic of Amazonia for appraisal and for approval. This order is directed to the cabinet and to various government departments, counties, local government areas, that's LGAs, and the technical commission and committee of the interim government. It has nothing to do with the former president, Sako Ekome. Now, so this has been to stop his chivalry activities within the treasury. Because if you, we have mentioned this, if you were to see the result of the ongoing auditing, you will lament. People, Ambazonians don't know. And the very few people who are trying to push him and pull him to go is because their hands are tight and they are afraid, because at the end of the auditing, every one of them will be called up for accountabilities. And not just that, everything will be published, and friends and relatives and the world will know who they have been and know how much wicked they have decided to enslave and keep in bondage Ambazonians forever. Because when you see what they have been doing with the finances, you will discover that there is no iota of any goodwill for true freedom and liberation for Ambazonia in the heart of this guy and his wicked teams. So the message is directed to our LGS and the technical commission, because money can come in as much much as this letter has gone out. We are grateful for the team in place and the commitment of the head of that department, who has stood true against every manipulation. So anything will be directed on to the Restoration Council. But who is Sako? He is gone out. He was impeached and removed, and we don't recognize him anymore. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
And
Thank you,
let me add also, because let me add,
ladies.
if you don't mind,
Yes.
the letter that There's letter that the National Auditing Committee sent out early this morning, the 4th of March, states at the end of it, say the auditing is expected to take a couple of weeks, and we call on all ambassadors to have faith and trust in the process. In the meantime, we urge every ambassador to pay their compulsory independent tax through the National Treasury, or although under key by the Restoration Council, meaning the Restoration Council is in charge. Then they give warning. They say, do please do you not pay, or pay through any individual PayPal account or any other means of payment directed to you, since it will be difficult for the National Treasury to include such funds into the budget. Fellow countrymen, women, we are also calling on all who have contributed anonymously to please scan their receipt and to send them to the Restoration Council or to the National Treasury or to this committee, National Auditing Committee. You can send it to the Restoration Council if you don't know them. They are a team of people, well vetted, accredited accountants, and we hope you find this letter satisfactory and up to your expectations. This is the least we can do for now to address the unintentional inconveniences until a final audit report is made available. So we are just informing Ambazonian that this has been going on already, and in the next few weeks, it's signed here by the committee head, who is Dr. Ekondo Metuge. Now, and it's assuring Ambazonians that so far they are committed in what they are doing, and they will soon be finished, and the result will be released to them. And they want nobody to be victimized or manipulated to dropping your money into the wrong account, because this guy, we see the way he talks about hostile, talks about desperate, talks about, in other words, even demonic, which is the picture of the thief that comes to steal, to kill, and is ready to destroy at all costs. So these guys are committed for anything, because they know that if they let things go, they will be exposed, and their shame will not only be horrible but international. But it's too late for them. So the Ambazonians sit up through this information. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable out there. We hope that Ambazonians are listening to the education that you are giving them from here. Now, let me say this before I move to the next very important segment, ladies and gentlemen, of this broadcast. As you heard me say a few minutes ago, this woman has been putting out her private banking information for you Ambazonians to send out your donations through her. I'm asking you, we got to clean this house. If Ambazonians who are giving their money would have to have trust in what the leadership does, accountability has to be key. Again, accountability has to be key. This struggle will not go anywhere if money is not coming in, or if Ambazonians begin to find out, as we are seeing today, people running away from an audit, that their money is getting into the hands of unscrupulous leaders and is not being used for the purpose it is intended for. We are asking you, you ever paid money into a private account of this woman, please forward a copy to me. Forward a copy to me. The phone number that I use here for phone calls is the phone number I have on WhatsApp. You can forward your receipt to that phone number. And do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Your name will not be mentioned here, will not go out, but we will forward that information to the auditor who is auditing these accounts. And so, if you have ever paid money to the interim government through the private account of this woman, please forward a copy to me. I am not going to read it here, but I will forward it to the auditors and let the auditor make sure that every dime that has passed through her hands is accounted for. That is very, very important. Again, forward those receipts to me. And your name will not be mentioned in the public. I promise you. I promise you, your name will not be mentioned in the public, but we will get that information to the auditors, and they will be able to verify whether those donations actually went into the National Treasury, or at least to whichever county or LGA the money was intended for. If it was for lava storm 1 or 2 or 3, please send it. Send the receipts. If it was for any other purpose, send the receipt. Ladies and gentlemen, send the receipts to us. We will get to the bottom of this. And thank you for doing so. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now take you to the most important, I guess, the most important segment of this broadcast. The most important segment of this broadcast. And I'm talking here about the killings in Okondo, Titi. What La République du Cameroon will not tell you or tell anybody who cares to listen. The killings, ladies and gentlemen, in Okondo, Titi. What exactly La République du Cameroon will not want anybody to talk about or to know out there as the reason for the attacks and the decimation of their colonial officials in that county, LGA, EKONDO, Titi. Ladies and gentlemen, on Thursday, a venomous anti-terrorist offensive took place in EKONDO, Titi, and led to the death of 2 La République du Cameroon senior colonial officials, including the mayor and a couple of their own military security. La République du Cameroon government and her cronies have since gone on lamenting and spitting venom, attributing the incident to what they call Ambazonia terrorists or separatists. We say no. The killings were caused by bad and unpassable roads in Okondo, Titi. Ambazonia restoration fighters may have planted the explosives. Of course, there is war. The explosives that blow up the trucks. But ultimately, the success of the operation can only be attributable to the neglected state of the roads in all of Ambazonia, including Okondo, Titi. Indian County, ladies and gentlemen, within which Okondo Titi community is an integral part, has been the bread basket that feeds both Cameroons for years. The bulk of the mineral resources, including petroleum and agri produce, that La République du Cameroon government feeds on, come from there. The county is the most exploited, yet the most abandoned. Those who carry out the exploitation have never thought of even a kilometer of a paved road in that county. The gateway into Okondo, Titi from Kumba lies there, looking like a fermented piece of abandoned trap for everyone to see. The journey from Kumba to Okondo, Titi, that should normally take just about an hour or so, now takes not less than 6 hours. 6 hours of driving. Yet they want everybody to believe that their colonial officials were killed by Amber boys. It's such a mockery of themselves, ladies and gentlemen. Colonial Governor Okalia Bilai was in Indian yesterday to access the situation we were made to understand. Guess how he got to India? Of course, he didn't drive from Boya to India. He landed by military helicopter. Under normal circumstances, a drive from Boya to EKONDO, Titi, ladies and gentlemen, shouldn't take more than 1.5 hours. But he had to fly because there are no roads to EKONDO, Titi from Kumba. And to prove the point I am making, Okalia Bilai could not leave the military camp he landed at to the scene where his mayor, his DO, and the Boy Scouts of soldiers were killed. For two reasons. The road is a dead track. It is impossible. And because he was too scared of his own life to gamble out of the camp he landed at. He was surely afraid of a repetition of what happened to him in Libya 2 years ago. Not even the colonial DO, ladies and gentlemen, for Indian, could reach the scene of the offensive. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my point. Ambazonians decided to pick up guns to fight, not just because Paul Biya declared war. We pick up arms to once and for all free ourselves and generations to come of the abandonment and exploitation such as in India. Remember the Bamenda Ring Road? We were promised it for decades. Today, it still doesn't exist. How about driving from Bunda to Bamendankwe or to Bamenda? It used to take less than 45 minutes. Today, it is taking more than 3 hours from Bunda to Bamenda. Pathetic. Yet Bamenda remains the biggest city center in all of Ambazonia. If the biggest city center in all of the southern Cameroons, ladies and gentlemen, has no access road, tell me the reason why we must not fight. Tell me why we shouldn't keep on fighting. We were promised the refurbishing of Victoria Seaport, isn't it? They have, within the years, built Kribi, and Victoria still lies in ruins. They still send French teachers into our classrooms. They still have French-speaking magistrates and the procureur generals presiding over in our courtrooms. We are still monitored by the gendarmes and military in our own country as if we were all bought and brought there as slaves. They have continued to kill our brothers. They kill our parents. They kill our sisters and our children too, with impunity. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened in Bekora, EKONDO, Titi, was one of the best things that has happened during this time in this struggle. FM 10 Kobo and his Expendables 100 must be applauded and supported to continue with the annihilation of anything that is not appropriate to Cameroons in Ambazonia. Since the colonial officials want the world to know that everything is under control, it is high time we send even stronger messages in well-planned actions from across Ambazonia that nothing is under control. La République du Cameroon is not under control. FM 10 Kobo has now passed the torch. Every restoration fighting unit in all of Ambazonia must now take up the challenge, whether by road, by land, by sea, or by air. Anything La République du Cameroon cannot and must not be allowed to breathe in the southern Cameroons at this critical moment. The southern Cameroons need to get so hard, ladies and gentlemen, that immediately crossing the Mongol into Tico and Metazem into Santa, any La République du Cameroon official should feel it. Feel it. Let us Christian this moment, the obliteration era. The obliteration era. If anything we have learned, ladies and gentlemen, from the Russian war in Ukraine, it is twofold. Number one, the rest of the Western world doesn't really care. They don't care what they hear goes on in the southern Cameroons. Second lesson, we'll learn from the nationalism and the bravery of the people of Ukraine, from their president to the kid on the street. If Amazonians are sitting here waiting for the United Nations so-called and the West, Europe and America to bring its independence, forget about it. It is not coming. It is not coming. You do not matter. You are a mere drip of water in an ocean. Otherwise, tell me why in this war Cameroon soldiers have killed well over 30,000 of our people, displaced close to 1 million, and the United Nations and the West does nothing, zero, no sanction. But a few buildings are destroyed and brought down in Kiev and surrounding towns. Few thousand refugees, and the next day the United Nations calls for an emergency general assembly. The International Criminal Court holds hearings, ladies and gentlemen. Sanctions rain in on Russia. Billions in aid flow into Ukraine, but nothing, and I mean nothing, is done to eradicate the butcher of Cameroon who has killed over 30,000 of our people. Fellow Amazonians, if there have been anything like Amazonian nationalism, it should be now, and I mean now. We have seen how in Ukraine, both their young men and the old refuse to go anywhere and leave their country behind to be devoured by Russia. Young men went and picked up arms and volunteered to defend their country. Civilians, including even their mayors, they retired. They refused to run. They went and asked for guns to fight for their country. Asked their opinion about Russia and the attack. The looks on their faces tell you that they abhor, they detest Russia. The time has come. The time is now. If we abhor La République du Cameroon as Ukrainians abhor Russia, we must demonstrate it now. Amazonians need to learn from Ukrainians. We need more of our young people to pick up more arms, whatever that arm is, to join the ranks of our fighters to the effect that La République du Cameroon is overwhelmed. We need our civilians too, our patriots, to pick up arms too, to join the ranks of our fighters in their own way to exterminate everything La République du Cameroon from our territory. What I really mean here is this: everybody must be seen to be doing his own thing at this moment, like in Ukraine, to eradicate anything La République du Cameroon from our country. The language of dialogue, mediation, and conferences isn't going to have La République du Cameroon evacuating our territory. The only language we will use to subdue and cause them to retreat is the language of power and fire, annihilations and more annihilations of everything in Cameroon's military uniform and Cameroon's colonial offices with their slave occupants or masters in them. Let's demonstrate such bravery and nationalism as we have seen in Ukrainians. This war shouldn't be fought only by restoration fighters alone, ladies and gentlemen. Every Amazonian should be a fighter in his or her own right. That's how we will restore our sovereignty. Kudos. Kudos to FM10 Kobo. May God bless you all, and may God protect all of you in the bushes of Okondo, Titi. And to the women out there, we're learning that La République du Cameroon colonial officials are now forcing you to come out on Women's Day. I guess it's on the 8th. Come out on Women's Day on the 8th. Carry out some parades, ladies and gentlemen, so the world can know and believe that war is over in Amazonia. We are warning, ladies and gentlemen, we are warning every woman in Amazonia, in Bamenda, in Boya. You don't want to leave your children orphans, motherless and fatherless, or motherless, ladies and gentlemen. Please do not dare step out on Mother Day for any parade. La République du Cameroon soldiers will not rescue you. They cannot save themselves. They will not save you. Stay home on Mother's Day. Stay home on Mother's Day. Unless you want to be used as spectacles, ladies and gentlemen, for this war. That is my talking point. And now I want to bring back my panel. I start with our honorable gentleman here. Let me start with the honorable Danny here. Danny, please, you have listened to me. Tell me where I am wrong, sir. We have seen what Ukrainians are doing out there. They are inspiration to every country that is oppressed or under attack. We see the young men in Ukraine picking up guns to defend their country against Russian aggression. But in our country, in Amazonia, we see some young men running and hiding and then pointing fingers at those who are fighting to free them, exposing them to La République du Cameroon. This is the moment that every young man, 40 and below, in Amazonia should look for an arm, isn't it?
Well, thanks again, Secretary Chris. When this revolution started, especially around is it 2019, there about 17, I beg your pardon. I got an inspiration for a song which is in pidgin, and the song simply says, "You are not the camo, you not the cam. You are not the camo, you not the cam. Country people stand your ground, or you not the cam." So right from then, I've known that the UN is not going to come, and at that particular point, there was a lot of talks of and hopes that the UN was going to come, something was going to come in, and we're going to maybe have this sudden help from the UN and stuff like that. So, and that is an inspiration, a song I had in a dream. So I've always known that they will not come. And, if God is giving to us and giving us that message to stand our ground, it means that we have to come. So, it is sad to see that a lot of people are on the fence, and they think that it's just going to happen overnight. The issue is this: La Republique doesn't care whether you're a man, you're a woman, you're a child. They look us as dogs. They look at us as if we are nothing. So they don't care who they are going to kill. You might have one or two that might be compassionate, but it's just a general thing with them, especially those in the military that have been just deceived, and they are just going on this parade. So I would say, you know what, stand your ground. Stand your ground. Whatever you can do to defend motherland, defend it. There is people think that, oh, you have to feel guilty. Let me ask a question right now, like this: if you're in Ukraine, with all this ammo, these people that are coming against you, will you now say, oh, you feel guilty because they are coming against you? To stand and to take up arms and do that which is right to defend a nation? No. But in our case, we tend to think that, oh no, we shouldn't do it because it'll be as if we're doing something wrong. No, 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 no. We are at war, whether it is Cold War. Cold War was war. Whatever the state is, the issue is this: we are at war, and until we begin to realize that we are at war, we will just continue to die. That's what's going to happen. And sadly, some of you who think that this thing is just a joke, you'll be sadly some of those that will be taken out. And although we will cry for you and mourn for you, life will still continue and we will still win this battle. So why not take the chances now, stand your ground and do that which is right. I thank you now.
Reverend Njini, let me take you back into uh, EKONDO Titi. Our boys, they go out and uh, they bring down EKONDO Titi colonial divisional officer with the mayor. And a few of their military scouts personalities. And their colonial governor takes off from Boya and lands in a military camp in EKONDO Titi. And he says, oh, everything is now in control. Everything is now in control. This was done by the terrorists, the separatists, the Amber Boys. But the truth is that what he faced to tell people is that it was the nature of their roads that essentially facilitated, made it necessary for these people to be killed. Tell me where I'm going wrong here.
Secretary Chris, you are perfectly right. You are not going wrong anywhere. The analyses are clear, very, very clear. And especially to our brothers and sisters who have decided to on the wicked master at the expense of their own very people, their own very land, and their own very well-being. That is true. Because this message is very, very clear here. And this should be a shame to Okala the lie, they call him the lie, who keeps lying to
Yeah.
yes, Okala the lie or the liar. He stands everywhere in all that has been happening within our land and lies very clearly to the international community, who have proven true, just analyzing of the case that he took from the Ukraine and the Russian crisis to show that their wickedness and their deception does not permit them to reach out to us. We are committed to the truth. Now, so we are grateful that our restoration fighters are able to pick up the challenge. And the call is that everyone within the land should become dissatisfied. And even the enablers who have been saying what they are saying should become dissatisfied and ask themselves, how long will that keep on deceiving my conscience? While you were analyzing the case of Russia and Ukraine, there was a scripture that came to my mind in Genesis chapter 27, verse 40, which, the father to Esau told him, you will go through difficult moments and you struggle in life, but when you will become unsatisfied, you shall shake off the yoke from upon your neck, and you will pick your sword and you live by it, and you shall conquer. That is the truth. God wants his people to come to their senses. And when you don't come to your senses and you leave the colonial master molest you, torment you, torture you, and cheat you upon your own very own, in your own very land, you remain a slave forever. So it's a pity and it's a warning, it's an exposure to the international community to show how wicked these people are. They have no iota. This guy will fly in his military helicopter and lands there, stand with the people, make his video and send out, and he cannot take any step further because he is not secured. And these very enablers who are dying for the foolishness of serving a wicked master at their own expense, at the expense of their own people, are struggling on this route day after day, and they pass through there with their consciences seared, dead, destroyed, that they cannot even come to a reasonability. Why? How could the roads be the way they are? And they're living in deception to, so it's a big message to every enabler. Everyone, my prayer every day is that anyone that goes out on assignment of deception of this kind, like Okala the liar or Okala the lie, Lele, or the other one in the other side, they call it Lila Africa. And they bear the same message and portray the same character everywhere. Anyone that is committed to go on that course, run on those kind of errands of deception, and paint the wrong picture or portray the wrong message to the international community, or restraining them from whatever, let them die on the course of that. As many as they go, let no one of them return. That's my prayer. And I pray from the conviction of the word of God. Bible said there is no place for the wicked. Let them die the death of the wicked. That is true. So this is a message to them. And this is, I mean, not to the Republic, because they are recalcitrant and they are bended in their wickedness. So it's a particular message to everyone Ambazonian who are deserved to become an enabler from any corner of the territory, that they are on the death traps and they will be overtaken. These are signal warnings. And as many as are not ready to sit up or yield into those warnings, they will be victimized. Not long.
Thank you. Let me put up this image on the screen for people to see when we are talking about the nature of the road as a reason for the death of those people. Ladies and gentlemen, look at that road. Look at that road. That is basically a dead trap. A dead trap. Can you look at the width? The width of that road. Not even people can pass by when those trucks are using that road. People cannot. They cannot. And they want us to believe that we are fighting for nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, they have promised us everything on earth for 60 years. 60 years, as I said, we haven't seen it. The ring road is still in the books. Always a project, always. The Victoria Seaport is always a project. Why they kept on promising us Victoria Seaport, which they only needed to refurbish, not rebuild, not completely rebuild. They just needed to refurbish. Why they kept on promising us that seaport? They went over to Caribbean and put up one. And Victoria is still seated there. We still have their colonial officials sitting in our schools and in our courtrooms. There is no access road into Bamenda for years, And we have been in this war already for 5 years and counting. And somebody wants us to believe if we just surrender to La République du Cameroon, they will make everything right. Hello? Is that for real? My Getra, you one of those who will believe so?
No, not by a long shot. As you know, Foncha had a roadmap. He had a planification of how development was going to take place in West Cameroon in those days. Everything was worked out, and La Republique took it over and said, no, don't worry. And from then, they decided to take everything from us. Even these tiny roads you see, they are roads that go to places where there's wealth. If you look in the back of that picture, you see palm trees. They look there, Indian, they have oil, they have all kinds of
Yeah.
things, petroleum oil. So they have only enough roads to go and take, not to go and do anything. They make roads to places, and it's not even good roads. You see the vehicles coming with timber, with oil, with
And
everything.
and
And
don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. These roads that we see here, our own people use their hands to dug those roads. Don't be surprised.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, there are roads in places that are people dig. There are bridges to places that are people do by themselves. We have seen pictures where divisional officers have come to inaugurate bridges or roads where nothing was built, and they stand there and take pictures of nothing. And all the money has been swindled by all the officials. So those officials of La Republique, do not have any qualms. They do not have any reason to tell the truth because there's no retribution if they do wrong or they do right. And nobody comes to check. If they give money to do some work, people just squander the money. Nobody checks. And so they perpetuate the same thing. There's no need. They don't see any need for any change because people are not working for a government, for the good of the people. They're working for themselves. As much money as every individual can steal, that's fine. As long as you are not caught, as long as you are not doing anything against beer, you are free to steal as much as possible, knowing that the day you will cross beer, you will be in jail. So that is why people cannot stand up and tell the truth. Everybody is lying, everybody is thinking of themselves. But I am so surprised because in this day of the internet, of social media, people are beginning to see how other countries have developed. If the people in La Republique or anywhere else cannot sit up and say, "My goodness, less countries that have less than we have better roads, have better things, the people are living, and we are existing. We are barely existing because all the money is going to the hands of a few people. It's not even that the money is going to develop any part of the country, it is going to the private pockets of people. We, like you said, Secretary Chris, we have the seaport, which does not need anything. It doesn't have sand like Douala. For the longest time, they were spending money every year to remove sand from the Douala seaport instead of a natural harbor in Limbe, which we used to use. When I was young, I went to school in a Presbyterian girls' school in Limbe, just by the seaport. We would hear ships coming in, and that is something that had to be developed, but they would not do it because it is on our side. And people are paid to put money in their pockets. Nothing, no development. I don't know how these people have a conscience. How all these deals, they go out, they put their lives at risk, and when they die, then they say it's us. They kill themselves by not doing what they have to do, by turning their eyes and looking on the other side. When nothing is happening, there's no development, people are suffering and they are stealing money, and you don't even see what they do with the money. So it is very pitiful. It is very pitiful that these things continue to happen and they blame it on innocent people who are dying. I don't even understand when you see people on the road, you don't see people looking healthy. People are suffering. And these government officials do not have a conscience. And if you see, like what I keep saying, people buy their position. People have money, they buy to go to ERIC, they buy to go to ENAM, they buy to go any professional school. So by doing that, you feel you have that sense of entitlement. I have this job, I bought it. Therefore, any money that comes is mine. So if use this money for myself or for what I want, I don't feel any guilt because I bought this position. So this is a government where they buy and sell things. People buy positions. People buy into schools. So when you go to that school, you don't even pay attention. You don't learn because the job is yours. It's going to be yours regardless of whether you pass an exam or not. You've bought yourself a place. And so those are the kinds of things that we are trying to tell our people that is not the way. We have to have our own country so that when you look at other countries which are developing, then you can begin to see that that people are living and we are just existing. We want to live. We want our people to live, to be alive and enjoy the good life, enjoy all the things that our land has to offer.
All right. Unfortunately, I wish we had much more time to discuss this subject. Let me do the last round. Was it who spoke last? Was it Reverend Ginny or Danny?
Yeah, that's
Okay, so let me come to Reverend Ginny. I talked about uh, the
yes, yeah.
spirit of nationalism that we have seen in Ukraine. Ukrainian uh, 40 and above, I'm sorry, 40 and under, going and demanding for guns, ammunition to defend their country. They refuse to leave. Retirees, civil servants, they refuse to leave. They go and ask for arms to defend their country. I don't know if we are seated here, whether in the diaspora or on ground zero, hoping that the United Nations will come to our aid, hoping that some mediation or some conferences or negotiation will bring this to an end. We fool ourselves if we cannot pick up arms. Every Ambazonia, pick up arms. Make them, if you can. Make up cocktails. I saw it in Russia. See them making cocktails, and in Ukraine,
Molotov
making
cocktail.
up cocktails to go after Russian army. I'm surprised. One thing that surprises me, is, gentlemen and lady, is that for 5 years we have the ANSC. Nobody is using cocktail on the ground. Nobody. Nobody. And money is being raised on a daily basis. Common cocktail is not there. If Lefancy was not here, I don't know where we would be today. But I think this is the moment. This is the time for every Ambazonian to think creatively of how he or she can invent their own weapons to go after La République du Cameroon. Can you imagine? They live around them, they live among us, and they go out and do business as usual, and we do nothing. This is the time for Ambazonian nationalism. Reverend Jenny, or if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, let me know. If you think that the
Can
United
I say
Nations will save
something?
us. Yes, Mama G.
Can I say something, Secretary Chris, about this?
Yes,
I know
please.
the hope of Reverend Ginny, but I'd like the opportunity to say something about this. You see, the problem that we have is the fact that for too long we have been suppressed. We do not have that sense of nationalism. Our children do not know what it was. So people don't have the idea that I am fighting for a better country. It used to be like this. So sometimes it's the vision. I would tell you that when this thing started, somebody gave me the recipe for this Molotov cocktail. I have shared it with so many people. I have shared it with county chairs. Shared it in my own county. And people refuse to use the Molotov cocktail. No, they say, no, we want AK, we want this. People are, it is like, people are, I don't know whether I would say the boys are corrupted or whatever. And I think that there are times that people have to put their foot down and say, look, for us to send you money, this is what you have to use. This recipe for Molotov cocktail is there. When I saw those people shaving soap and all those things, I'm looking at it like, this is what I have. This is what I have been sharing. And people refuse to use it. But the problem again is the fact that you see these people in this country, they have enjoyed their country. They know what they are fighting for. They see what they are losing. But our own people are just fighting. Some people are fighting because growing up, they've never had anything. People have degrees, but they cannot even find a job for dog catcher or whatever. And so that sense of this is what I want is really not there. So the vision is not there. And I think that that is one of the biggest problems that we have.
All right, thank you. Let Reverend Ginny round this up and open the phones to hear from Ground Zero. Reverend Ginny, please.
Yeah, I think just to add to the voices of Honorable Danny and Mama G, our people really need to sit up at the moment and to understand. As I just look at the pictures there, like everybody's watching, you discover that all of those guys, the ones lying in the car, the ones who fell out, are all having, you know, protective armor upon them. I mean, bulletproofs. But it shows that the AKs did not do anything. But something those locally improvised explosive is
Yes.
what succeeded. And if at every LGA people are able to sit up, while we thank God for the Levances and the Asawani, which were inspirations at the local levels. We have the stories and the history, testimonies of what happened in Libya, how they came in their numbers and they were carried out in, in bags.
Reverend Jerry, I'm not stopping you there. You see, uh, one good thing about this cocktail Molotov is that anybody can make them.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
They are
exactly.
easy. We are
Yeah,
talking about everybody becoming a nationalist. Every civilian making his or her own weapon. These Molotov cocktails are you can easily make it. You need a bottle and some gasoline to, get this thing working. And you wait by the side of the
e-
road and trap down their trucks. You will destroy them in minutes. Go on, please.
e- exactly. They are easy to make and they are cheap to, I mean, go through the process. I remember in the early days of the SDF, where guys were just using bottles and with sand or with sand, and some who had rice could use it with petrol, and those were really explosives. That and the thing just died off. Now talking about these modern ones, and we are glad that this has come to because it has thrown light. You just go to the internet and Google out how to make the Molotov kind of uh, and you will see it is clear even to those who do not know. And from every end, I want to think that if everybody pick up that spirit of being passionate and being nationalistic in the view of the liberation of the land, and on every corner we will heat up the land, and these guys will have no place to stand. Just like you see the colonial Joe who could stand and not move any step, there are some of them who within our local government areas who have no sense of any movement. They'll be paralyzed wherever they are. And any move they will have to take will be sneaking out if they will succeed to step out. It's a wake up day. It's a wake up day. And the truth of the fact that we can see the United Nations, we can see the International Court of Justice within the third day of war in Ukraine, stepping out already for investigation for crimes against humanity. And then the call of the United Nations for, I was somewhere today, and I was shocked that in one of the grocery stores, they are collecting money, and that there's something put there, and they're collecting money to send to Ukraine, which is a call from the United Nations. Ambassadors have been going for 5 years. What have they done? So it's a call to understand that we are left on our own. We thank God who has been able to sustain us this far. But He wants us to be awakened. And with our little effort of commitment, He will amplify the energy or the firepower and we will smoke these guys out. So whether you are now another call comes back to those, especially those of us in the diaspora. Ask yourself, what are you doing? Maybe you have been discouraged in the past because we wanted to transport things from the ground one to ground zero. It never worked. The boys were hijacked, or even the things were seized on the way because of the tight security from La Republic Cameroon, who were able to track down all the different passages of our boys. It's high time the little we have, we manage from home. We have everything it takes to be able to smoke out these guys from our land. And if we sit up in that nationalistic spirit and do what we can do, little contributions from the diaspora and the effort of everyone in the land. The pictures are there. I saw a woman with two kids. One of them was 7 years, and another one was 3 years. And she said she stood on the line for her name to be written so that she can get into the war. And every child, every woman, they were committed in the cause. And I think that God honors people who are determined for their own cry and liberation. So may this message pass through to our people who are listening to us so that we can, who knows, before the end of this year, we are arriving Boya by the grace of God. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. Unfortunately, we don't have much more time to continue on this subject, but I want to thank all of you, Ma, Gertrude, and all of you for being part of this discussion. I look forward to bringing you back one of these days. We'll have much more time to talk about it. You have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to open the phone lines now. I am going to open the phone lines, and if you have a contribution on this subject, please give us a call right now. I see the first caller is here. Let us see. Hello.
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 Hello, please. This is Ernest calling from Maryland. Thank you for taking my call, sir, and my greetings to your panelists. And what I have to say for today, I remember at one time, like Mama G said, around Amobizam in Bamenda in the 90s, the neighbors were trying to get the road fixed, and the gendarmes just came and took them straight to station and locked them up. These are the kind of things that make people just feel that since they said this is something for government, we should just sit down and wait for government. So that spirit has to be pumped up by your program today, and those ones that will come up, and any other person that has something to say to bring us the nationalistic spirit, so that we can fight, when it is due time. And I also want to say that we have to be leading, because when I remember that from 2017 up to today, we are saying 3,000, soon 5,000 people died, soon 10,000, soon more than 13, and now we are saying 30 because it was said in France. We have to determine how many of our people died by ourselves and start saying it just like we said we are Ambazonian, and now everybody is calling it Ambazonia. We should not go and listen to people and then think we have to follow them so that other people will understand. We have learned from the fact that they are calling us Ambazonian, and because we insisted. So if you even consider that between 2017 and 19, where people died like 20, 30 in a day, we had at least one person dying in each local government. If you look at one person dying for each local government one day for 3 years, that is 2017, 2018, and 2019. Just these 3 years, and we multiply by 63, you see that we have about 70 people who have died, 70,000 people that have died. It's simple. We can just adopt this, and then we know we work from there, and then those who are in charge of every local government, they now begin to send us daily reports on people they get that they are dead.
I think that's a great idea. We can actually have our local government chairs and security chiefs to begin to carry out these census in their communities. Let's know exactly how many people have died since the war started in their communities. We will easily come up with the real figures of how many people have died. Great idea. Thank you, sir. Let's get to the other people. There's no time to stay on for long. Thank you. Okay. Let us see who is next. Let us see who is next here. The phone line is open, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Hello.
Hello. Good evening, Secretary.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Bamenda.
From Bamenda. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Go on, sir.
Yes. Two perspectives. The first one is
you have 50 seconds. Make it really quick.
Okay. I just want to recall that a few years ago, the former U.S. Undersecretary for Africa, Ambassador Cohen, said that Amazonians are not angry enough. I'm happy that you are eating on that point about Amazonian nationalism today, because that's the key to arriving Boya. This ambassador said that Amazonians are not angry enough. I'm on ground zero, and sometimes I feel sick the way I see people show indifference to what is happening. How can you be indifferent to people, to demons who have more than 30,000 of your people, burn hundreds of villages? You go about organizing parties to drink and dance. So I'm happy you are hitting hard on that. That is what will take us to Boya. Everybody will fight. Yeah, the field marshal was saying that the time is coming when people will be compelled to subscribe and fight. Yeah. That is the key. People must defend, must do what the Ukrainians are doing. Nobody should be spared about that. As for Dr. Sako should know that what he is doing is treasonable, and he will never get away with it. He will never. Dr. Sako should leave Amazonas alone for all what he has done. What he's doing is treasonable with his kick. Yes. We have lost so many people. We have lost so much that we'll go any extent to track down people like him. In fact, demons like him. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You have a great night. Okay. Let's see who next is calling. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we don't appear to have any other calls coming in, and I think that is great. We will call it a night here, but before I go, I need to remind all of you that tomorrow, Iya Marianta will be inaugurated right here on ABS as the next president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia for a transitional period. We will try to bring it to you through ABS Live. As that happens, we will bring that back to you. We will bring that to you live. Let me get this caller from London. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Quiz. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I just want to contribute something about what you said on Wednesday.
Okay.
When you said that, you said something on Wednesday that it didn't sit quite well with me.
Okay.
About the president's house rent that was being paid. You said something that it was okay for the people to pay the rent, but this struggle, we all are doing a voluntary service. I don't think it is right for us to be paying people's salary. The boys who are fighting on the ground, they are not paid any salary and they are dying. So why should we be paying a salary of a president who can work?
No, you got me wrong, sir. You got me wrong. I didn't say a salary. I said it is okay for the rent to be paid. Let me tell you, it is very easy to sit by the side and say, don't do this, don't do that. This thing takes a toll on some people. And if you are in charge of the struggle, or you are doing communication, which is physical work, it is not virtual work. Listen, I will say a stipend for the bills is okay. And I will advocate that for everybody who is a leader, for as long as they want it. Sako deserved it. He deserved it, because I'm telling you, this takes a toll on many of us. I have never asked for it. I have never been given one. But listen, I will not say because I was not given one, he shouldn't have had it. No, he should have had it. And anybody taking the leadership should have it, but not a salary.
Yeah, but the people who are on the ground, are they having any
No,
stipends
don't
as
say the
well?
people who are on the ground. The people who are on the ground are not living in Europe or in America where they have to pay for everything. Don't you realize that?
Yes, but this struggle is voluntarily. So I
No,
think that
no, you are
that's the
correct.
reason why
You are correct. It is voluntary. But again, you have bills to pay, and there is nothing you can do if you don't have a job. Those rents still have to be paid, electricity still has to be paid, the phones still have to be paid. And if that person is sacrificing and spending every minute, comrade, you don't know how many times we spend in meetings. You don't know
yes,
how
that's
long
true.
it takes to
That's
prepare
true.
a show like this one. So it is physical work, and sometimes you just cannot combine it with anything else. Of course, again, I've never been paid anything. I have done it, but I do not think, not because I have done it without pay, somebody should do it without pay, especially at that level.
Okay, sir. The one more thing I wanted to say, what is happening now, like in Ukraine? I just want to beg Amazonians who are following up these things. We have Amazonians in Ukraine who, some of them, they are doing voluntary service with the Ukrainian forces right now.
Mm-hmm.
So there are Amazonians in other parts of the Western world. Some are in the military, like in the US, in the UK. So I think what we lack now is that sense of patriotism for Amazonia. We must have people who, if you've learned something that you think you can help, the time is coming where we will have to go down and also support the guys there, with our own expertise.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's something I should be really emphasize that. I mean, Amazonians, they are some of them, they are really so scared. I don't blame them. It is the way they've made it. But I don't see any reason why we shouldn't fight for our country. If we truly believe that we own this country, this piece of land called Amazonia, we should thinking of, even going down there and fight. I mean, time is coming. So everybody that should get ready where you are, try and learn something that you can also go back and support your brothers and sisters down there.
I think we're going to be, in the days ahead, we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about this Amazonian nationalism. I think it's a message that needs to be preached for everybody. I mean, until everybody gets it. Some of these things, like this cocktail Molotov, they are cheap and easy to make. There is no reason why people cannot sit in their homes and manufacture those things and take to the streets.
Exactly. The thing is, they don't really know, because if they know about all of this, I think some of them will be doing it.
But that is why I have a problem with the ANSC. That's why I have a problem with the ANSC. Those are the things they should be educating people on the ground. Every home on the ground should have by now known how to make simple things like those cocktails.
Yes. Imagine that they knew how to make some of those things. Like they should have been doing a lot of damage to the invading forces, But I think in the coming days, things will change. Things will really change for the betterment of the struggle.
All right. Thank you for the call.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will call it a night here, but before I go, I make a very special appeal to you, ladies and gentlemen. If you truly appreciate the work we are doing here at ABS, I ask you to go on the website and make a generous donation. Make a generous donation for ABS. The website address is right there on your screen, absafricatv.com, and the email is there, info@absafricatv.com. We look forward to your support. We look forward to your support. Go to the website right now and hit on the donation button. If you are using a cell phone or a tablet, when you get on the website absafricatv.com, you will look at the three white lines. You see the little three white lines. on the top right. Yes, on the top left. The 3 white lines, not the 3 dots, but the 3 white lines on your top left. You click on that, the window will open and you will see the menu. Under the menu, you will see Africa News, you will see World News, then you see donation. You click on that, you'll be able to make a generous donation for ABS. Thank you for doing so. I look forward to your support, and God bless you all. On Monday, I'm gonna be having a powerful presentation with very special international guests, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very powerful guests with an international guest here on ABS. It will be special. So do not forget about that, and don't forget to tune in. Please, again, go to the website, support ABS today. Do so now. God bless you as you do. I look forward to being back here again on Monday. Good night. God bless you all.
Have you been thinking of a career in IT? DevOps Engineering is the course for you. CS Academy is offering a 6-week DevOps engineering course that will prepare you for a lucrative job in the IT field. Do you know that an entry-level DevOps pay starts from $90,000 to 6 figures? And the good thing is that you don't need any degree to enroll for the course. Enroll today. Training starts on Friday, March 25th, 2022, and admission is going on right now. Log on to csacademy.us to learn more. Contact us at 832-387-1460.
Our classes are live online, interactive, and instructor guided. Training holds only 2 times a week, Friday and Saturday evenings. Sign up today to secure your seat, or call now and talk to us.
Again, the number is 832-387-1460.
Tempo, t'es une référence. Moi, je sarnio kalongo j'ai dit.
Ota la rétroviseur Noki osa la marche arrière. Passé angana yo, to wakana ebale. Pangusande papisto kende avant. Alita chamala.
King Makiadi na Montréal. Sima ou Kibukiti.
Ota la rétroviseur Noki osa la marche arrière. Passé angana yo, to wakana ebale. Pangusande papisto kende avant. Alita chamala.
Oboti.
Nalula yo, nalinga yo, nazela yo. Eusulinga. Tina nini na betaje akipergan. Na ipembula ikusani. Nalula yo, nalinga yo, nazela yo. Eusulinga. Tina nini na betaje akipergan. Na ipembula ikusani. Anita chamala. Atavoyo na mobembo tina kabasango. Na
étincelle, océan de sagesse.